Netflix finally releases one of their new teaser trailers for the new Lara Croft show. And as you can imagine, it's already going over amazingly well for them. And fans absolutely love it. As you can probably guess, I'm not being too serious, but Netflix would love to think that this show is going to be a huge hit with the fans, but think the fans have a different plan. Now, there's an article over there on the website called That Park Place. The article says Tomb Raider fans torch Netflix latest teaser trailer for Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. I have a lot of mixed feelings about Lara Croft. I grew up with her. This is one of the topics that get brought up a lot about gamer guys not accepting female lead roles. And it bothers me because, in fact, a lot of my childhood youth and some of my most favorite video games actually is female lead characters. Like my most favorite game being Metroid, obviously that's Samus. And Lara Croft was a major part of my childhood as well. Now, yes, obviously it's a part of a lot of young boys, favorite video games for various reasons. But that's honestly what gets you to play the game, right? It's no surprise. It's not a secret. Lara Croft is very well endowed. That definitely got a lot of people to play the game, including myself. But once you got in the game, it was a lot of fun. Like Tomb Raider is a great game. And we're going to go ahead and read this article and see what they have to say. But it's not looking good for Netflix. So let's see what this website has to say. Mr. John F. Trent at The Park Place writes, Tomb Raider fans are not happy with the latest teaser trailer for Netflix Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, and are making their opinions known. The trailer at this time had 214,000 views, with only 75 upvotes and 8,600 downvotes. Before we continue, let's take a look at it for ourselves here. Right now, it's sitting at 9.2 thousand upvotes with 13,000 downvotes. Not going so well. It is at 247,000 views. So 13,000 that's a hefty chunk. Fans are not happy, but I can only guess why. So we continue the article. It says, furthermore, numerous comments are roasting the trailer and the show. One person wrote, I see Lara is still falling repeatedly. That's true. With the new video games, they always have her struggling. And I think they kind of miss the point of Lara Croft. And they feel like she always has to struggle. She always has to get beat up. Like, I understand that take. You want to show, like, the hardship that she goes through. But Lara is, when you're a kid, she was such an awesome character. Outside of her obviously looking absolutely sexy and amazing and looking like a woman. The thing about Lara is that she's a combination of Indiana Jones meets James Bond. And I want to clarify the James Bond comment because, I'm much older nowadays. And so there's two types of James Bond fans. You have the Daniel Craig and then the originals with, Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan. Now, there's nothing wrong with Daniel Craig's James Bond. I love his James Bond. If you haven't seen the movies, you should watch those movies. They're fantastic. And he plays a more serious James Bond, probably a more realistic one. And it works really well. But if you are older, you grew up with the other James Bond, the debonair, the Sean Connery, the Pierce Brosnan James Bonds. They're always dashing. They rarely are ever surprised. They always have amazing one-liners. They're always on top of everything. They always beat up the bad guys. And Lara Croft really embodies both that James Bond, that older James Bond, and the Indiana Jones. And you mold them together, and that's essentially Lara Croft. And the new video games, although the first one I did enjoy, the soft reboot, it was good. It's just, you would hope that after that game, we would start to see Lara go into that role of her almost 00 agent, debonair style character, where she is very on top of things. She's never really taken by surprise. She always does like really cool flips and explosions. She may fall, but she lands on her feet and her 9-inch heels, shooting with her double Desert Eagle pistols. It's a little ridiculous, but it works, right? It works for the character, and it's what made everyone love the character. Again, I talk about this before. This is the reason why there is a community. There is a reason why these people love this character. So when you start changing some of these iconic things, you start to lose a lot of that base. We'll continue. It says, Another one stated they left the comment section open again. Yeah, always a mistake, right? When you're going for something like this. This one says, where is Lara Croft's iconic pistols? Yeah, I just brought that up. That's something that the game's really lost. They have a lot of climbing gear, but they don't have her pistols. Lara Croft is very much a shoot first, say funny stuff second. She's very much action packed. She has these ridiculous Desert Eagle handguns that are like bigger than her face. Totally unrealistic, but it works. It works for the character because of how cool she is, how she acts in the game, and how smooth she is. It really sells the idea that she can actually, hold those double barrel Desert Eagles. If we continue with this article, it says it's not at all surprising that the show is going to make Lara Croft suffer. There it is again. This is what I was talking about. They're very dead set on like beating her up constantly. And I think that's okay for like her origin story. If you want to show how does Lara Croft get to the whole double agent, debonair style, smooth, action packed, one-liner girl. If you want to have that video game where it kind of shows that, I think that's totally fine. But they don't do that. They just continue the same story over and over again. And if you've seen the trailer, it's more of the same. She just gets beat up. She's constantly struggling. She never has that awesome Lara Croft moment that we all grew up with. It's just always she has to get beat up, which is a bit annoying. From the showrunner Tasha Howe? A little bit about Tasha Howe. I'm sorry if I'm messing that name up. No one's really going to like her anyway. She was a writer on The Witcher Blood Origins. And if you've ever seen that show, then that basically explains everything you need to know. The Witcher is a travesty what happened to that show. Even more, the whole Blood Origin thing that came out was just an absolute joke. One of the worst things that Netflix has ever released. And she was a writer on that show, and now she's writing for TombRaider. That right there can already kind of tell you what to expect from this show, which is really bad. And it's unfortunate, too, because TombRaider is such an amazing character. I really love her. I've been playing her games since I was a child. And yes, the new ones are not as good as the old ones. But I feel like they could have had something, but, they continue to lose it with their push for making her so strong and boss girl energy, if you know what I'm saying. But we'll continue. It says the director informed that Lara Croft just doesn't go to a new temple each week, but goes through a character-driven emotional story. That excited me the most. Yeah, you see, that's what makes Tomb Raider cool, is that she's like, let me go do this temple. There's a boulder coming. Like, the difference here is that she goes into the trap, where Indiana Jones is like, oh my God, there's a trap happening. He has to run. And it's great content, right? Who doesn't love Indiana Jones? But when it happens to Tomb Raider, she smiles at it, does a backflip, lands on the tiger, shoots the bad guy, jumps down, and then she has this awesome one-liner, and like the boulder completely misses her, right? Like, that's Tomb Raider. That's what we grew up with, and that's what we love from Tomb Raider. Like, she's an awesome character like that. It's like a really fun experience to play, like especially the older games. And I recommend anyone to play those games. They're fantastic. But we're going to continue with the article. It says, as for what else to expect from the series, it says the show will be following the events of Shadows of the Tomb Raider. So it's going to basically pick up where the game left off, if you haven't played the game yet. So this is purely based off of the video game, which the second one did not really go over well. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact there's no character progression with her. It's just struggle after struggle, and you never get to the Tomb Raider that we know and love. It's always this beat down person that just overcomes adversity at every angle, and it's never this. You never get that moment of this awesome, debonair, style character. It's always this I'm beat up. Not to mention, they nerfed her a bit, right? If you grew up with her, especially on PlayStation, Dreamcast, she looked one way, and then now she looks totally different, which if you watch this trailer, this image right here of her holding the hand, which I know they're supposedly hinting at that, she's going to be in the ABC camp, which right there already tells you everything you need to know yet again with the show, as Laura doesn't really do that. And it really wouldn't make sense with her character. But, that's what they want out of the TV show. They want to appeal to as many people as possible by appealing to no one. But if you're taking a look at this image, you can see just that, she's a 2x4. which is not Laura, right? Like, I think it's wrong that they did that to her, because there's nothing wrong. Like, if you're a woman and you want to look, sexy, or you want to show off your assets, there's nothing wrong with that. Men do it all the time. You got games like Baldur's Gate, where they have these guys who are just swole. They have traps the size of my face. They have like 64 packs on their gut. You know what I mean? They have pecs that are measuring 64 inches across. That's totally fine. But when it comes to the females, we got to make them overweight, or we got to make them a 2x4. And that sucks for Laura Croft, because that's actually kind of important for her character. And people are going to say, oh, well, you're just a man at that male gaze. There's no male gaze. That's kind of the point of the character. The character is just, you look at the character and you would think, oh, well, she's just some sexy woman. She doesn't know what she's doing. But then when you see the character and she shoots all the bad guys, she's doing her backflip, she's solving puzzles, she's very intelligent. That's like the point of the character. That's where the confidence comes from in Laura Croft. And Laura has kind of lost all of her confidence, and they've never given it back to her. So we get the origin stories, but we never see the development on Laura's side. We just always see the struggle of this 2x4 that can't go anywhere. And it's more important to show, diversity. And it's more important to show, the ABC world. But it's never important to pay homage to the community that actually made Laura important. It's never important to thank the fans who's actually given these the company money to continue to make the video games, to make the TV show. So instead, we reward them with a writer who completely destroyed, The Witcher. I know, granted, there was a lot of more factors going on with The Witcher than just the writing and Blood Origins, but we know what happened with The Witcher, right? It's one of the best shows ever, gets tanked over this same type of stuff that they're putting in the new Laura Croft show. And I'm a big person when it comes to animation. I love animation. In fact, most of the stuff I watch is nothing but animation. And to be honest with you, the animation in this show is kind of lazy. It's very cheap. You can tell there's a lot of frames missing just because it's what they do to save money, especially with like explosions or constant cutting. When you see a character falling down and they cut to different angles, that's just them really saving money, because they don't really want to animate the entire fall off a cliff or something like that. The animation's already kind of cheap. It's kind of low budget. And I do wish that they would have took some more time with it. But it's Netflix. They're trying to hit a quota. They want to hit as many people as they can. They got to hit the DEI, whatever the stats are for that. We know that they're there and they got to hit them, and they do. But at the end of the day, it's not going over well. The video is over 13,000 dislikes. There's a reason for that. You're changing the character, you're changing the story, and you're taking it away from the community that made her popular to begin with. It's just really unfortunate. So as someone who's grew up with Laura Croft, I love her. Especially the older ones, and I still play her games. In fact, the anniversary edition came out. I think it had 1, 2, and 3 in that. Fantastic. If you haven't played it, you can actually toggle between the old graphics and the new graphics. I recommend, if you are wanting to get into Laura Croft, or this is really kind of giving you an itch to play Tomb Raider, but you're too angry to watch the show or play the new games, you should go pick up that anniversary edition. Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remastered. It's on Steam. I think it's $29.99. You can obviously get it on sale. If you're having an itch to play some Tomb Raider or to get into Tomb Raider, I start with those. Those are fantastic. And they will take you to her roots back when she wasn't nerfed and she had her double barrel bazookas that she used every day. It's such an iconic look too. I hate that they took that away from her. The teal shirt with the khaki pants and boots with the giant calves and stuff. God, it makes me so mad they took that away from her. It was fine for the origin story because maybe they wanted to show you what she dressed before she got confident. But we're past that. It's time to put her in her iconic suit. It's time to put her with her double Desert Eagle pistols. It's just annoying to see this over and over and over again. But that's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think down below. Are you going to watch it? You going to hate watch it? Do you enjoy the new Tomb Raider games, or are you like me, just playing the old ones over and over again? Well, that's all I got for you guys today. And honestly, it's probably more than you needed. If you laughed, smash that like button and subscribe. I'm Shane Games, wishing you a beautiful night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.